Yeah, it's almost over. I'm sure of it as well. We've got 55 hours to go till the subathon's over, and then I can finally sleep without the guilt of having to wake up in time to be here again. Oi, oi, oi. But I do want to say thank you everyone so far who has participated in the subathon and been over here in the live chat, and all you guys are wonderful. What we have to talk about right now is maybe a bit of a throwback to an earlier way the channel used to operate, at least in total. We have a Questions for Atheists video. I am really looking forward to this because I don't get to do these types of videos that often anymore. So this will be fun. But before we get into that, as always, guys, we need to get into the fan art section. So, right here, we have me desperately trying to click the right button so I can see everything about this particular image. This one is from Ephemeral Star. They said, "Hi, Suris. Sorry this isn't fancy, but I was watching one of your streams and I wanted to draw a pen drawing of your adorable VTuber avatar, and I probably will draw a more detailed version later, but for now, enjoy this one. Always wanted to submit a drawing. I enjoy your content. You rock." Well, thank you very much for that, Ephemeral Star. I know that it's probably getting harder and harder to draw my avatar as it is because there's so many different versions and there's a lot of different changes and all that other fun stuff. But regardless, I do love seeing the fan art that people throw in of the avatar, despite the weird addiction I have to random outfit changes now. With that said, as always, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and roll the intro. Now, this video comes from a channel called Choose Jesus. It's not the biggest channel, so we're not going to try to actually, punch down too terribly much. What we are going to do is try to take the questions in good faith, except for one problem. It is a car video in the wrong orientation. That's about the closest thing to ad hominem I plan on getting during this video. Let's play the video.
Hello, friends. So with this video, I have some questions for atheists.
Sure.
Now, this is not a debate. I'm not really trying to refute you. Just some questions for you to consider.
All right.
Some questions I had to consider when I was an atheist and an agnostic. And a lot of these questions help push me to the truth, which is Christianity.
Okay.
Is the truth.
So I guess that means I'm going to be a Christian by the end of this?
Well, let's get started.
Sure.
So, do you believe in the scientific impossibility that everything came out of nothing? Now, I've heard some...
Wait, okay, so we have a couple of problems here. One, the scientific impossibility. Can you define nothing? Have you ever observed nothing? Do you know the properties of nothing? If not, then the best thing we can do is just say, oh, then we don't know. Now, as for models of a universe from nothing, I do know there's an entire book from Lawrence Krauss you could read on that particular subject that deals with quantum physics and how you can actually get a potential universe from nothing. But when it comes to the problem of nothing, the biggest issue we have is that we can't define it. You can try your best to define it by its lack of traits, but by adding traits to it, it's no longer nothing. You are describing something. We don't have a concept of nothing. What nothing can and can't do, we don't know. So the honest answer is, we don't know. Now, what we also know, though, is that matter, or at least energy, can't be created or destroyed. As far as we know, that was eternal. So the idea that we exist from nothing doesn't seem to work within our current idea of how physics works anyway. It's more like we exist because, well, energy is eternal, and we happen to be a current manifestation of energy, condensed into matter, as we are right now. But, you know, that's a very, very layman understanding of that. Let's go ahead and continue the video.
Atheists say no. Some atheists say yes. And if you said no, you don't believe that, then that's good. You're close to being agnostic.
What? I don't think you know what that word means. I'm just going to continue the video.
That's good. Because how could anything come out of nothing? That makes no sense. That's magic.
Okay, I really don't want to talk about the irony of defining something as magic while also being a theist. This is not me trying to insult people who are theists. That's not what I'm trying to do. My point is, when you try to disparage something as magic, but also hold a belief system that necessitates a magic system, I just... It feels weird to me.
And I don't do magic.
You do. You're a Christian. You do. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You actually do magic. You think you don't, but the best descriptor for what your god does is, in fact, magic. So,
I do miracles.
That is just magic, without spell slots.
Alright. So how about, do you believe life came out of non-life?
That is the same question again. And the answer is, again, we don't know, but we have a pretty good idea because we have working models for abiogenesis that we are currently trying to expound upon. The Miller and Urey experiments were years and years and years ago, and we have certainly expanded since then. But, this is just rephrasing the same question again, but making it just a slightly bit more specific.
How could something not living create life?
So the thing is that the something non-living does not necessarily create life. But based on the models that are presented in abiogenesis, there are ways in which you can spark, at the very least, base amino acids, bits of RNA, stuff like that, from non-living matter. Or at least non-living matter as we understand it. But again, this is a very layman's understanding of what abiogenesis is. But again, how? We don't know, but we have a pretty okay model that is working somewhat. It is not a theory as of yet, but it is certainly a model that we are currently working on constructing. But, even if we don't, the honest answer is, I don't know.
It didn't have life in it. Where did it come from? Like this pencil. It's not alive. How could this pencil create life?
By breaking down and decomposing, and I'm sorry, that's something completely different. Also, Aaron the Sheba, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an oh well. I should also point out that if we're going to work within the realm of honesty, being as honest as we possibly can, if you are talking about that pencil, then the likelihood of us making that pencil turn into something alive is certainly going to be nil, as far as I understand it. We could use it to help other organisms grow and consume it, and then they would be alive, or at least further along in their life cycles, but that would not be the same thing. What abiogenesis is talking about is something completely different. There's a very unique set of circumstances. This is the same thing that happens when somebody talks about the improbability of something being fossilized, and yet we have fossils.
Think about that. Or what about, you believe consciousness came out of something that didn't have any conscious?
No. So consciousness is an emergent property of the brain. The brain evolving, or the brain being a machine that has evolved over time to have what we would define as consciousness, is not something magical. I think that people actually put a lot more stock into the idea of what consciousness is than they really need to. Also, Aaron the Sheba, thank you for the follow, and Ivana Dragmeyer, dear fucking... Okay. Of course. The subathon has meant that most of you have managed to stockpile lots and lots of armaments. For 50,001 channel points, something that normally takes people months to save up, but apparently during the subathon, people have managed over the course of a couple of days. Oh, whoa. And fuck you.
How so? This pencil doesn't have any consciousness. How could consciousness come out of it?
Well, it's not going to, because it lacks the properties that would have consciousness emerge. It doesn't have a brain. Sorry, dude.
What about intelligence? Intelligence coming out of non-intelligence?
This is just the same thing again. Intelligence is a vague term that we use to describe what we observe as a result of consciousness in sapient beings. That's all that is. This is just the same thing again. Are we just going to be asking the same questions over and over again? Is that all this is? Is that all this is?
Where do you see that happening? This is insane.
Is this Discount Hoven? I know it's not, but this sounds like him now.
Or being aware. Awareness coming out of non-awareness. This pencil's not aware of anything.
Could you stop licking your lips, please?
You know? Or order. You believe order came out of disorder?
So here's the thing. If I take a random set of marbles and I throw them on the ground and they just so happen to arrange themselves in what I would recognize as a pattern, I see something that seems orderly, even though it is very likely all chaos. But I have interpreted it as a form of order, even though it's not. But also, the idea of order coming from disorder, the only thing you could really attribute that to would be, what, our planets? Because I really wouldn't say that our living situations here on Earth is very orderly. But if you're talking about, say, like the clockwork momentum of the planets, we know why that happens. Gravity is a thing, but I guess go off, Queen?
How so?
Gravity.
Big Bang?
Big Bang did not make order. That's just a fucking... That's just a reaction that allows things to expand quickly in what we perceive as our universe. You still need other things to happen after that. Dear God, this is like an elementary schooler trying to understand cosmology.
The explosion? Some atheists say it was an expansion, it's not an explosion.
Yeah, that's what I just said, but okay.
But the expansion was faster than the speed of light. That sounds like an explosion to me.
An explosion is a destructive concussive force, and expansion is merely rapid movement. That is the difference. Either way, this is a semantic argument. How does this get you to God?
I don't know, guys.
I don't know either.
No.
I did 3 minutes ago.
An explosion created everything.
It's not a... If all the matter in the world is if all the matter in the universe is currently condensed into a single point, and then that matter expands out, nothing's really being created at that point. But different elements are currently in the process of moving outwards, and in some cases, actually, because of gravity, they start to compress onto one another. Again, this is a really, really, like, I'm the one doing elementary cosmology now. I'm the one doing that. But from what we understand, the idea that something is being created is ludicrous. All the component pieces, everything was already there. And Freya's got it right in the chat. The expansion is just a change in the scale factor of the cosmological model. Like that's all it is. Nothing's being created. It's being rearranged. Like it functionally, it is being rearranged. When you have sex with, I assume, your girlfriend or wife, I don't know what your marital status is, and you guys don't create life. That's not what happens. There is an egg there. There is sperm there. They combine and rearrange, and that gets fed nutrients and grows. It is a constant state of converting matter and energy from one form to another. Nothing's being created. But, okay, let's get there. We're 3 minutes into a 14-minute video.
Really? And this explosion, they say, came from a dot that was as big as an atom. The whole universe fit in an atom? You really believe that, guys?
Do you know how much blank space there is in your molecular structure? Do you know that? Like, if you actually started observing what... This is why physics is useful for people sometimes. If you actually start observing, like, what these structures look like at an atomic level, there's a lot of blank fucking space, but okay, sure. Let's just pretend that when you have a sponge that is really big, you can't fold it onto itself because of the amount of air that's inside it.
Try to take a cup of water, condense it into a smaller cup. That's impossible.
No, it's not. We can... Wait. Have you never seen us condense things? Like, we can do that with a lot of different types of matter. Because, again, there's blank space between them. It creates a very high-pressure environment.
How are you going to do that? Imagine all the oceans were condensed in a dot.
You're already thinking of it wrong, though. You're taking water, which has already been constructed. We'll call it that way. It's already been arranged into a particular molecular pattern. When we're talking about the singularity, we're talking about something that is not currently arranged into that molecular pattern. all of those atoms, all those quarks, they are put into an infinitely dense space. What you're referring to are physical things that are already constructed out of those quarks, that already have all of that blank space in them that we see on a molecular level, or an atomic level, whichever one. Again, I'm a layman. I'm fucking stupid. Freya says in the chat, if you've never heard of slow roll inflation, please shut up about the Big Bang being impossible. Look, this man's understanding of cosmology is like one step away from mine, and yet we've come to different conclusions, probably because we're both dumbasses.
As big as an atom. That's insanity.
No, it's not. It is outside what you can conceive of, but that is not insanity.
Billions of galaxies? We're in a small dot? That's fantasy. That's make-believe.
I thought this was a question. Why are you just saying, that's fantasy, that's make-believe? I could literally do this about your god, and it would be insulting and disparaging, and it would make me an asshole. Also, K then, hun, thank you very much for the Tier 2 subscription. Greatly appreciated. Zarok, thank you for the $2 tip. This guy is in good faith, especially after you see the comment section, his responses to criticism. He's a toxic asshole. That's fair, but I'm still going to treat him as if he's speaking in good faith. Like, even with that information, it does me no good right now to assume that he's not.
Fairy tales. They teach this in schools. They're brainwashing children with the satanic garbage.
Wait, how is cosmology satanic? That doesn't even track.
Stupid. Come on, guys, think.
Okay, let's think. Let me go ahead and model this from a Christian model then, for you. Is it possible for your God to condense all of the matter in the world into an infinitely dense space? Is it possible for your God to take all of the matter that exists in the universe and condense it down to a dot? Is that a thing that your God can do? If your God can do it, then the concept alone is not insanity. It is well within your paradigm of possibility. The only problem you have is that in the scientific model, the God is not present. That's it. That's literally all it is. Because again, if it's within the power of your deity, then it's not insanity. It's not fantasy to you. The exact thing you're describing as ludicrous is literally possible within your own model. You're just upset that the God part is missing in most other people's. Aaron the Shiba says, yes, understanding of relatively basic physics is Satanism. The entire video is just an argument from ignorance. The entire thing's just that fallacy. How can there be 14 minutes of this? There have been like 5 quote questions so far? How long does this go on?
That's insane.
Can you stop saying that? And laughing?
I don't know. Let's say something else.
Sure.
How about if I say, do you believe this pencil had a maker, designer?
Okay, cool. It's just the watchmaker argument. This is, again, about perception. I can throw a bunch of marbles on the ground, and they will look like they've been arranged in a particular pattern to someone. It does not mean they were actually arranged in that pattern, but... Okay, let's also talk about how fucking random mutations happen, and how adaptation literally leads to what we think of as created, quote, kinds of animals, despite the fact that they were literally just stacked up mutations and adaptations. That's evolution. But, let's just keep on doing this whole ludicrous thing here. Dark Ghost Star, thank you very much for redeeming your points for the Ada. You feck.
Builder, creator, I mean, you're going to say, yes, it does.
This is just the blind watchmaker argument.
This maker had to be intelligent, had to be conscious to make it.
They didn't have to be intelligent. I know some pretty stupid woodworkers.
What he or she were doing. I mean, we see the intelligence behind it. The wood, the way it's shaped, cut.
I'm going to throw it out right now. This guy just got done listening to his pastor at a sermon pontificate about this for an hour and a half, and he's trying to condense that insane rambling down to 14 minutes, which is why this is so scatterbrained. That's my bet, but that's me being disingenuous now.
We have the lead in the middle. We have this
is just keep doing this.
Metal piece holding the.
I don't care. I'm skipping ahead.
That's insane.
He's just doing the insane thing again. How much more is left here?
It's the fine-tuning of the universe. You know, that's how much you don't want to believe in God. You guys are emotional. You're not intelligent.
What?
You know, you mistake your pretentiousness with intelligence and wisdom.
You literally pulled that from your preacher at the pulpit. Or your favorite fucking YouTuber. Like, this sounds like you are literally parroting. This is everything I've heard from Ken Ham, Kent Hovind, Ray Comfort. This is all of that combined into a single video. That is all this is. I thought that I was going to be getting something neat. This was a treat for me. This was a treat for me. Do a transcript word search for the word insane. I'm not going to do that right now, but apparently there's just a lot of it. Like, I thought this was going to be a treat. Like, oh god, I get to do like actual just regular ass atheist content for a little bit. That's going to be fun. Stretch my legs back into those waters specifically for the purpose of doing that. No politics, none of that shit right now. Just me and the origins of my channel 4 years ago. And all I get are the exact reasons why I branched out into talking about other things I care about, because this is all the same shit over and over and over and over, and oh my god, I think I'm gonna have a concussion, and I haven't even smacked my head with my hammer yet. It's on my tail now, though.
No, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. You don't have wisdom.
God damn it. Okay, we're just gonna stop. We're stopping. We're not doing this thing. We're gonna keep playing the video, but I'm gonna rephrase exactly what you said. We are now past the point of I'm gonna view this as a good faith discussion. We are now to the point where I'm going to be making fun of things. If that's not the thing that you want to watch, then that's fine. But all I heard, what you just said, right there, is the beginning of being smart is being afraid of daddy.
The Bible says, proclaiming themselves to be wise, they became fools.
I don't care about what your Bible... Literally any religious text can say shit. Let's just keep going.
Yes, and then agnostic. More so as an agnostic.
Okay.
But, you know, the Holy Spirit was guiding me to the truth.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
What did he say?
And you guys use God in the gaps.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we have creation. What do you have? What do you have?
Honesty. We can say we don't know and we can start researching. All you have is God done it. Literally all of this is just God done it. We actually, like, literally, if we just said, how did a bird happen? God done it. That's it. That's the end of that conversation right there. But if we actually start studying, evolution, if we actually start studying the adaptation of various different animals in various different geographical locations, moving animals to different geographical locations and seeing what adaptations they have to gain in those particular environments to thrive or even survive, these are things we can actually do with evolution to understand how we came to be. It also allows us to understand things like how various diseases work, because I don't know if you understand this, but mutations of diseases are a thing we have to account for when dealing with things like vaccine research. Literally, evolution as we understand it is one of the bases of biology and even modern medicine in many different fields. But none of that would happen if we didn't sit down and start asking the question of why. When you just have the answer of God done it, that stops us from asking those questions, and it stops us from actually trying to learn more. Now, granted, this is not to say that there are not theists who do not study science. Duh, there are. Like, literally, there are very, very intelligent theists who say, okay, God did it, but how did he do it? But that doesn't seem to be what you're doing right now. What you're doing right now is going, I'm happy with the answers I have in my heart right now, while disparaging the modern scientific method. These two things are in conflict with one another.
Again, rewind and listen to what I said about creation. How does that come out of nothing?
I'm not rewinding your goddamn video. This was already pain.
The emotions. We have history and archaeology and millions of miracle stories. Millions of near-death experience stories.
Yeah, people hallucinate when they're about to die. We understand that. That's actually a decently understood phenomenon, but okay, sure, go on, Queen.
Just millions of people are just making up these stories. You could find them all.
They're not making up these stories. They are being honest, but here's the thing. You can't actually trust everything that your brain tells you. Hallucinations happen. Like, Here's the thing. If I listened to every harebrained thing somebody told me after a DMT trip, then I would be convinced that we lived in a multi-layered fucking theistic universe and there was a god called Daddy somewhere in the fucking cosmos. Like, I'm sorry. We need repeatability to understand things scientifically, not random-ass testimony.
Online. You know, they're just making it up. All the Christian testimonies. You know how many archaeologists and historians became Christians when they couldn't refute it?
Couldn't refute what? What particular archaeological thing needed to be refuted? Let's go with one archaeological thing. So we've had several archaeologists attempt to determine that the Exodus actually happened, and we couldn't find that it did. That was an interesting one. We can't actually find any archaeological evidence for a guy named Noah, or even the flood. That thing? We can't actually find that literally at all. But you could talk about the millions of archaeologists that couldn't refute it. What is it here?
You know how many doctors saw miracles and they became Christians?
Yeah, they saw an improbable thing and then made a rash decision. That happens.
Because they just kept on seeing miracles and people having the same stories. Look it up, guys, you know?
Look it up, as opposed to, I will provide this. I'm going to give you a vague thing. I'm going to say, look it up. This is the same thing that happens when the conspiracy theorists say, do your own research. It's meant to lead you to the dumb fucking places, because when I look up near-death experiences, I'm going to find a bunch of websites that aren't peer-reviewed, that are just going to talk about various near-death experiences. The likelihood of me actually engaging in honest research and looking up scholarly articles is not going to be there, because you're not giving me that particular roadmap. You're just saying, look it up. And most people don't have the wherewithal to, quote, look it up correctly. But I digress. We're halfway through the video, and I am not making this an hour-long video. What else is in here? There's got to be something. You need to give me something.
Look it up.
Yeah, it's just that popular
Same stories
now.
with seeing heaven or hell. They're not making this up.
There are literal different accounts of heaven and hell that people give. They're not all the fucking same. And usually the accounts of heaven and hell that people give are based off of the heaven and hell, or at least loosely based off the versions of heaven and hell that they grew up with, or at least were exposed to. But again, go off.
You know, I spoke about some of this with my own testimony. I have a testimony video. Check it out.
I really don't want to. You've not given me reason.
And even archaeologists, when they find, even secular archaeologists, when they find something they don't know, they go to the Bible to see what it is.
What? Oh, what? Wait. Where is that? Where? Hold on. Wait. So, you're telling me that when archaeologists are going on a dig and they find something that they don't know, they go through and they read the Bible again instead of checking, contemporary sources of the time? They just grab the Bible? Really? Oh my god. This started off, it was ad populum, it was God of the Gaps, there was argument from ignorance, and now we're just in lying. Now we are just in lying territory. I'm sure there might be a handful of archaeologists that have some kind of testimony that they're using that got them here, but the vast majority of archaeologists do not do this. Citation needed, please. Please. Let's just keep going, I guess.
Incredible.
It's not incredible.
All the miracles. I mean, I have a personal relationship with God.
Do you?
Because when I asked, I received. And a lot of my prayers come true.
What would function... Okay, so I have a question. If I prayed for something that was likely to happen, what would be the functional difference between the prayer coming true and it just circumstantially coming true? How would I tell the difference?
You know, some people, they say... I don't know, I might be getting off topic. Some people say, well, I prayed, and the prayer God didn't answer my prayer, so there is no God. No, God always answers your prayer. It's either yes or no. Nothing happened? Well, the answer was no. God is
literally, this is a fill-in-the-blank response you can use to justify anything. I can pray to any deity and get this and come to this exact conclusion. This doesn't get me to Christianity. This can get me to maybe a form of deism. This can get me to maybe a loose form of polytheism, but this is not going to get me to Christianity. And again, what would be the functional difference between circumstance causing something to happen and a prayer being answered? How would I evaluate that? How would I figure that out? If I can't tell the difference, if there's no functional mechanism to tell the difference, then it's not good to jump to the conclusion of therefore God. It's best to stay within the realm of what we do understand and go, okay, then it's just reality operating as normal. But okay.
Omnipresent. He hears all your prayers. So if nothing happened, it's probably a no. So your prayer was answered. Or maybe it didn't happen right away. It is going to happen later. Give it some time. God.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this right now because you've brought in the omnipresent God. This is your fault. I have to point this out. Very important. God is currently pressed up lovingly against your scrotum. He is currently tickling the backside of your butthole. Your prostate? Well, he's nuzzling up against it right now. He's also in your nostrils, in the little gap in your eye ducts. Literally, if he's omnipresent, he's in all of those orifices. God is literally violating you everywhere right now. Mass Creation Roskin says, I actually hate the thing that the missionaries I'm meeting with do when they call everything biblically amazing and awesome, but it's really not. This guy does it too. That's basically what's happening right now. And again, I hate to be the hyperbolic dumbass here, but when I hear God is omnipresent, I cannot unhear God is currently up my butthole. That's where I get. That's where I am now. And I'm gonna try real hard to see if there's anything else in here. We're gonna skip ahead a bit, and if not, we're just gonna go ahead and call it a loss. I thought I was going to get a treat, and instead I got pain. We're skipping ahead. Let's go.
Hello, sorry. Something happened.
Oh?
So what was I saying?
I don't want to remember.
Yeah, and using God's name in vain, it's everywhere. It's everywhere in movies, shows. I see it in video games.
Why does
they say,
what?
Jesus Christ? Why would they use that as a cuss word?
Do you want to know why? Because you were told to not use God's name in vain. That makes it a cuss word. When if you didn't say don't use God's name in vain, it wouldn't be viewed as a cuss word. But because you said that, it is now a cuss word. Here, what makes fuck a cuss word? I told you not to say fuck. Society has a weird way of looking at you when you say the fuck word. Therefore, it's a cuss word. Okay. Nah. We're done. We're done. I'm not going any further than that. Other, more patient atheist content creators than me can certainly do this one right here. Asriel the Raven, fuck you! Thank you for making me say a literal curse word on my stream. 50,001 channel points. So many of you have saved those up. The subathon was a mistake. Oh, well. Kill me. Okay. I tried to get through the entire video. I couldn't. I'm gonna... Vice Rhino, Godless Engineer, Prophet Azad, one of you guys. This is on you. This is your territory. You go take it. This is not mine right now. I can't. I just can't. 3 shoutouts, 1 video, all pain. If you want to support this channel and what I do, and I don't know why you would after that, there's a description down below. There's plenty of ways you can do it. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, then, hun, thank you very much for redeeming your points for Nada. I'm gonna go. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you want access to behind-the-scenes content for the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon. I do weekly vlogs over there, where I give real-life updates to what's going on behind the scenes on the channel, stuff that you don't really get over here, and even on Twitch. Patreon also helps the channel's stability a whole lot. Without Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Especially with the kind of content that I do, neither YouTube nor Twitch are the most stable sources of income. If you are are a $20 and up patron, then you will be featured on the ending slides as shown in the beginning of the end credits. If you want to catch the streams where all this content comes from, then consider heading over to Twitch and following. And if you want to continue watching over here on YouTube, maybe consider clicking one of the end screen videos. And once again, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me over on my channel. I wouldn't be able to do literally anything that I'm doing over here on YouTube without each and every one of you. So, thank you.